All right, let's do this. It's 10 o'clock. Oh my. It's 10 o'clock and it's definitely not too early to be drinking coffee here in Chicago. And I'm sorry that it's too late to drink coffee in the Netherlands. It's awesome that you're joining us from the Netherlands. Welcome, everybody. Hi, Jesse. Beefett's here. We've been chatting about what to call ourselves. Let me actually end that poll here and see what we should do. Where's the results? Okay, 45% say we should be Ashlanders, 36 Ash Hats, 9% with the Ash Holes, and 9% WTF. I don't think we have conclusive evidence here of what to choose. Anyways, that was a fun poll. Thanks, BFET. And yeah, I'm not mad at it. It's just I could see how some people would be like, Ash Hats, what's going on here? This is weird. So today I've got I tried to change the setup a little bit. So if I shimmy, look at this little shimmy behind me there. We've got some new stuff that I'll show you. And we're going to launch some stuff later this afternoon that will include this new model. And it will include some private stock of that new model. And then we're also going to look at some of the other stuff that has been ordered over the past 24 hours, which is really, really beautiful. I just pulled most of the stuff that we have to prepare to ship out today. So we'll look at some wallets and things that we're going to send out in addition to these new items and private stock. So glad that you guys are here. While I'm doing this, I might lose track of the chat here, but leave me some questions about anything. And yes, so I see Chase is asking, or Matt, somebody's asking what time. I'm kind of thinking 2 p.m. Central. I want to film like an actual other video after I'm done here on the live stream to post for people that don't check out the live streams. I want to have something nice for them to see a video of, although there are many photos I've taken. So I wanted to do a little video demo too, which I still need a couple hours to get that done. Let me flip the camera over and we can shimmy backwards this time. I gotta have some more coffee. I'm so tired. I was trying to hype myself up by like talking really fast and loud. All right, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. This time we're shimmying in a direction that I've never gone before. This is new territory. Oh, we made it. Okay. Let's see how this works over here. All right, new item. And if people have been checking out the live streams the last few weeks, I think we teased this a little bit. What you're looking at here is a wallet style that I'm going to call the Traveler Passport Holder. And it looks exactly like a Herbie. In fact, let me pull my Herbie out of my pocket. It looks very similar. In fact, it's nearly identical to the Herbie, but it's a little bit taller. If I can get these flush together. It's just slightly taller. And we did that so we could more easily accommodate a passport on the inside. So that's how it slides in here. There's this big open section on the right where you can slide your passport in. And people had been asking for apparently for years. And we just never did it. Instead, we made a different passport design, which now I think is going to be more appropriate. It's like a field notes sort of journal cover. And that other passport holder didn't have this bill slot. So we got a couple special things here that I think make this worthy of being its own product. So we're calling it the Traveler Passport Wallet. Holds a passport on the inside. Easy. That makes sense. But what makes this sort of next level is in the bill slot on the outside. One of the reasons I always suggest a Herbie for people that travel is because the Herbie in the outside here will fit every paper currency in the world. I know they have Canadian and US here, but some yen and some euro and some pounds are different dimensions than the US dollar. And they tend to stick out of most wallets. They're a little bit taller, or maybe they're a little bit too wide. The Herbie is great because it will fit every paper currency. So I envision this wallet as like your go-to easy travel guy. And I love the bill slot. I love the Herbie. It is a little tiny bit taller. So I think it's going to extend almost to the top of most back pockets. So it's a little bit bigger than the normal Herbie. But nonetheless, I expect this to be my new go-to for if and when I travel internationally next. I don't know why I couldn't say that. 2 card holders on the left. Right now, there's 1 card in each of these slots that slide in and out rather easily. But when I carry mine, in fact, I have my Herbie here, so I don't have to tell you. I can show you. On mine, you can see I've got like at least 4 cards in each of these slots, and it's no problem. So the only caveat there is once you have 4 cards in a slot, you kind of can't reduce the amounts of cards in the slots because the cards will want to they will stretch out the leather, and the leather wants to conform to everything you put inside. So once you stretch it out and it starts to conform to 4, going down to 2, they might be a little bit loose in there. So we do have some private stock that I'll get to in a minute, but we actually made some stock in 4 colors, which we perceive to be the hits, the things that people ask for the most. So we have the new Traveler passport holder in English tan Dublin, which is very, very beautiful. We have that nice burnished edge. We do apply a little bit of stain to the edge of this. That gives it a very clean look that I like very much. We also have the natural shell cordovan, which I just knocked over. This is our most popular shell color right now. People really want patina, and that's what natural shell is really great for. We don't add any color to any of this. The tannery doesn't either. So this is what the natural color of shell actually is. And then we do the same effect on the edges, just applying a little bit of wax, and then we burnish the snot out of it. So it gives it this nice sort of like, almost looks like polished wood on the edges. And it looks like wood because it kind of is wood. The veg tan leathers mean that the leather was tanned with tree barks. So it's a little bit of wood, which I think is why people find it confusing. All right, black shell cordovan we also have, and you'll notice the edges are very different on this when compared to the natural. But we do a nice hand stained edge. The stains that we use match the color of the shell just about perfectly, or they ought to match them perfectly. And then we do a little bit of additional waxing and burnishing on those. And then the color 8, since we started doing it, I've always appreciated our color 8 edges. I find this gives it like a very refined look while still being natural. And you'll find a lot of leather goods use more of like an acrylic, like a solid sort of paint look over edges of most things. It's also a very clean look. It's also very easy to do, but that stuff tends to crack as it's worn. So as you flex it, maybe this direction, that firm paint will eventually give way, and it doesn't last. So that's why we like the stained edges. And I think this is a really great way to finish an edge. Just give it a nice clean look with a little bit of stain and then some waxing and burnishing. So we have those. And before we get to the private stock, I have I'll give you a little peek here. There's a whole bin of private stock stuff, including this new key fob loop that I want to show you. I'm getting, my computer's yelling at me. Hopefully you can't hear that. All right, I have some Fat Herbies here. Another color 8 shell cordovan piece. It would be a good chance to compare it to the new Traveler passport holder. Very, very similar. You can see the Herbie is a little bit smaller than the Travel. It's a little taller there. That's just to more easily accommodate the passport in there. Herbie doesn't have that open slot on the right. We have the 2 card holders instead. We have another Herbie here in English tan Dublin, also very similar to the Traveler that we're just looking at. And I love the grain character on English tan Dublin. Here's another color 8 shell cordovan Fat Herbie. Super beautiful leather. This is what most people consider to be the classic cordovan color. Sort of like a dark brown burgundy. Love the edges. A little bit more minimalist here. We've got some Frank the Enforcers. This is a brand new brown cypress, which I love. We had this custom made for us from Horween, and it turned out even better than we had hoped. I also have a natural shell cordovan Frank the Enforcer here. Really interesting directionality. Do you see as I spun that? As I spin the leather around, you'll notice they change from light to dark, which is super crazy. It's really fun. So natural shells are our parlor trick in the wallet world here. Let's pull out some Bugs Moran. I've got a vertical card slot Bugs Moran. I think this is the last of its kind. It's getting endangered species here. We can make more of these, but I think we're sold out of the natural shell cordovan vertical card slot Bugs Moran. Still need to do the edges on this so you can see a good comparison from what the edges look like before and after we work on them. We do a little bit of beveling, adding all that material and polishing them up. Here's a vertical Bugs Moran also, but this one is in black shell cordovan. We do have the hand stain edges on this. Still need to do a little bit of burnishing, so that will even get better. And here's what the black looks like without any stain. So you can see on this traditional Bugs Moran with a traditional card layout of 4 card holders, on this we have not yet applied any of the stain. So this is a good way to show you a before and after for this type of thing. I think it cleans it up a significant amount, but we can still do it black or color 8 with a natural waxed and burnished edge, but we'd have to have that made to order for you. We're doing it with a stained edge by default. I got a couple Capones to show you, 2 in English tan and 1 in the new royal blue cypress. So you can see those sort of like wet looking edges, those are the ones that have been finished up in the English tan Dublin, but this has just been started to be worked on. When we finish up the royal blue, it has the same effect as all the other colors. It gets a little bit more filled in and bright and shiny, just like a little bit more refined. I love my royal blue cypress Herbie. I find this leather to be super, super resilient, and I like the vibrant color. It's one of the only wallets, in a surprising way. It's very shocking that this is the first wallet that 50% of the time that I've taken it out to pay for something, I get like positive comments on, where I've worn way more expensive wallets and people don't seem to care. They really like this royal blue color in person. I've got some Apple Watch bands back in stock. This one is in black shell cordovan. I'm actually wearing an irregular natural chrome excel Apple Watch band here. You can see there's like an extra hole in the stitching. But we do have the black shell cordovan going out today. We have some 20 millimeter watch straps also. So this is a regular length, 20 millimeter lug width Apple Watch band, or excuse me, standard watch band. So this has a 2 millimeter taper, 20 millimeters at the top, and then it's 18 at the buckle. These are online straps. They're super, super comfortable. We got one in color 8 shell cordovan going out also. We have the hand stained edges on those. And there's another Apple Watch band. I think one of these is a shorter length. So we do a regular length and then a short length strap. So if you have a smaller wrist, we should be able to accommodate that too. Got a couple keychain belt clips, our Key Buddies. This is natural shell cordovan, and this does swivel. Somebody sent one of these back to us because they didn't realize that it swiveled. I don't know. I kind of like that mine swivels, but they didn't want it to swivel. So we got the natural shell, the color 8 shell going out today. And then we've got some Foxes here. Let's skim these so we can get to the private stock. I'm excited to look at those. There's some great stuff. All right, Johnny the Fox is here. 100% black shell cordovan. And these are tough for us to make with the shell pieces on the interior. It's really difficult to get all those layers of leather just right. They're rare to find thin pieces of shell. Here's an English tan Dublin, Johnny the Fox. I always forget to mention, I can't see the chat as I'm over here. But if you guys are chatting up or asking questions, I'll check those out after we look at these wallets here in the private stock. So got a couple English tan. Oh, here's a fun one. I think this is also the last of its kind. Color 8 shell cordovan on the outside, classic cordovan color with not so classic of a look on the inside. This is reverse color 8 on the interior. And I really like the color 8 with reverse and the natural with reverse. I think we're sold out of those too. I wish we could make more of them. Here's a special piece. We've been selling a lot of these recently. I think it's very eye-catching when this pops up on the internet. Excuse me. So we have black Dublin on the outside, which I find to be the most interesting black leather around. Check out all the character in that leather. It's very different than most black leathers that tend to be super heavily finished and pigmented. This is like a very natural appearance. And then the inside, we have that teal, which contrasts like an amazing way with the black on the outside. So I think we would sell a lot of those because it's so different. Like when it pops up in Google or something, people are like, oh, I want that. So here's the more standard version of that. We have the same black Dublin on the outside, which again, crazy, great character. I don't know why I can't speak today. Need more coffee. And the inside, we have the black horsehide Latigo, which is a little bit brighter and shinier, but we chose that because it's a little bit tougher for an interior and it's naturally thin. All right, let's get to the, I'm going to clean up here and we'll get to the private stock here. That's what I know you want to see, which I want to see too. And you'll notice all this stuff is in shoe boxes, which is super fun. That one over there is like the Vibergs I'm wearing right now. I keep all my shoe boxes for little wallet shows. Somebody's here. Hello and good Friday. There's a puppy outside? Maybe we should bring the camera outside and look at this puppy.
I think they're going inside.
Oh no. Our neighbor got a new puppy and his name is Bruno. He's mega cute. All right, let's get to the private stock stuff here. I'm about done cleaning. Thank you for watching a man clean. All right, here we go. Boom. So these are private stock stuff that I like to, when we launch new stuff, I like to include potential variations and other things that we think are cool on this new style. We try to help you envision like, a year from now, what some of these wallets might look like when they're being made as like made to order. So this is intended to spark some inspiration, but we're also going to release all these for sale today. This is not one of the traveler passport holders, but I wanted to show you this. Lupe in the shop here made this for a private stock event and was really excited to show me. And I'm so glad that this is real. When she gave me this, she said, "You need to sell this." I said, "Yeah, that looks amazing." And I told her, "Make me another one because I want to carry this." I think this is super neat. So this is blue shell cordovan. I think it's intense blue shell with garnet shell cordovan that's clipped over it. And then this has been hand stitched. So there's a white stitch and a red stitch, sort of like a mega patriotic USA vibe. I just think it looked really cool. And then we've got the antique brass hardware. This one has a different key ring on it too. This is the key ring that we use for the keychain belt clip. All right, let's get to it here. There's some great traveler passport holders here. First one. I should also tell a little bit of the story here. When we were doing the private stock for this, my brother Matt was cutting all of these, and he surveyed everybody in the shop and said, "Hey, what's your favorite shell color or favorite leather, favorite color?" And everybody picked different stuff. I actually picked, normally amaretto is my favorite shell color, but I told him raw natural. So he made this one for me. So this is raw natural shell cordovan on the new Traveler Passport wallet. Again, I'm trying to launch these this afternoon. Let's just say right now I'm going to shoot for 2 p.m. Central Time. That everything that we're going to look at will be up on the site. So I need to hustle here and get to work. All right, we got also raw natural on the interior, and you'll notice that the stitching on this is this really cool like robin's egg blue, which I think goes great with that raw natural. This is the leather you want to choose. In addition to normal natural shell, you get a little bit more of a dramatic patina on these lighter cordovan colors. So that's the one I like to suggest to most people that want patina. All right, here's the next one. We've got a couple. This is a great time for me to compare these for you. So we got a couple whiskey shell cordovan pieces, and one of them here is darker than what I perceive whiskey to normally look like. So I'll spin it around here, and you'll notice that the whiskey shell cordovan is much darker and more golden when compared to natural shell that I have here. You can sort of see immediately it's a little bit more brown, but there are these more like golden, yellowy kind of undertones, which are very, very beautiful. And whiskey shell, it's so hard to get this leather. So anytime we are able to even purchase it and then be able to create something out of it, it's just an extra special day. Having said that, this is a little bit darker than what I perceive whiskey shell cordovan to be. We got two pieces here, and one of them I thought was like a little bit too dark, so we're going to call it dark whiskey. But you can see as I tilt it, the lighter range is like a little bit more of a normal whiskey. So anyways, whiskey shell cordovan, one of these is going to be labeled as dark whiskey, and I think this is the normal whiskey. This one has that same cool like robin's egg baby blue stitching, and in addition, this is probably what a lot of you were thinking, was like, why can't you put some additional card holders underneath? This is what we call the hidden card slots. Oh, my tripwire is set. This is called the hidden card slots. So we can put made to order wallets in for you. If there's something you're looking for and you really want to have some hidden card slots, we'd have to make it to order. But that's what this looks like. Full whiskey here with the blue, and the stitch does not go all the way underneath. So you could fit 2 passports in here if you wanted. Like if you're traveling with family and you want to fit a few in one wallet, that's what this would be great for. And okay, this next one, maybe one of the coolest wallets that we've ever done. All right. This is awesome. And I'm looking at my camera right now. I think the light is or like the exposure settings on the camera are making this look even lighter than it is. It's darker in person here. This is what we believe was intended to be tumbled verdigris, but this is much more green, like much more of a straight up green than how I perceive tumbled verdigris to be a little bit more of like a pale, like gray green. This one is darker. But what's awesome about this is we've actually added a little bit of a hand stained edge. And it's the same, believe it or not, it's the same color that we use on the English tan Dublin, but applied here, it appears very, very orange, but also it's super, super cool. So there's something magical about this piece that I really hope translates over the internet here. We're going to call this tumbled verdigris with the hand stained edge. It looks like an orange edge, but it's really more, it's this color, believe it or not. It's the same color we use on the English tan. Pretty wild. I love the look of that one. Surprisingly great. All right, here's another one, raw violet shell cordovan. This is the same idea as the raw natural, just a different color. It has not been polished and glazed on the surface. So you get a chance to impart your own patina onto something like this. That's full raw violet everywhere there. Get these out of the way. All right, here's some leather that we haven't seen in a long time. And I really, really like this. Really like this. I think this was Poncho's favorite leather in the shop. And this is slate vintage. We haven't done this in a long time. It's a cousin of the Essex and Dublin leather. And I remember when we came up with this at the tannery, the idea was that to spray a white finish over the surface of a Dublin to create this sort of like smoky, cloudy, hazy look. And when you do it on this leather here, it gives you an ability to develop some burnishing patina. I don't want to do it to ruin the look of it, but if I were to impart some or just apply some friction and pressure and just sort of rub the leather, it will darken up in that spot. So as this one is worn in, it develops an incredible look. It gets darker, but you can always sort of flex it back out and reveal those lighter undertones. This is cool. I kind of want to do this again. I really like the gray color with the orange stitching here. And the stitching is like pristine, immaculate work here. I think Poncho made this one too. He's very, very skilled. So we got the slate vintage new traveler passport holder going up. There's actually two of them, and everything's going to get its own unique page. So there'll be this one and this one. They're very, very, very similar. You can see some of that darker effect that I was talking about here. If I were to put my finger underneath there, should be able to lighten it back into place. Slate vintage is super cool. Anyways, each of these are all going to get their own product pages. So two of those going up. Oh, okay. Here's another one with an incredible story. Well, for me, incredible. This is Chrome Excel from Horween. Again, on the new Traveler passport holder. And the color here is navy. Now, this has been pressed with Scotch grain as a texture, which is actually, I think this is a really great look. This navy Scotch grain Chrome Excel. And we do that same waxed and burnished edge, which is fun. We don't do a lot of Chrome Excel, so it's fun for me to see how nicely this Chrome Excel has been able to been finished up. Just finishes up really nice. Sometimes the Chrome Excel can be like a little bit fibrous, but this, I think the reason that this is happening is a little bit more tight and dense is because of how old this Chrome Excel is. So this Chrome Excel I remember buying for a customer in Chicago here called Haberdash. And this is when they were starting their like a little bit more online world. So roughly 2012. So this is a decade-year-old Chrome Excel that's just been sitting and aging. And anybody that's familiar with, or I suppose has been familiar with leathers like Chrome Excel and leathers like shell cordovan for more than a decade will know that as that leather sits around, it just tends to get better and better. And that's exactly what's happened here on this navy Chrome Excel. So super, super nice. Like I almost want to call it dead stock. I think we lost some of this and it got hidden and buried away. So it's just been sitting there for years, just aging. So it's really, really cool to see the blue, the navy. And then we have another one. So this first one had the matching stitching. This one has an orange stitch, which actually goes great with that navy. And I'm looking again at my screen. It's much darker in person. It's not as light as it's appearing. See how it's blowing out the color of my hand. It's a little bit darker. It's definitely a straight up navy. And then this is a new surprising hit. We did some items in the Derby deerskin. Actually, I remember this came out when I was sick. My brother took photos of these and put them up, and then I reshot them because I wanted it to look different. This is the Derby deerskin, and we're making these also on the Traveler Passport holder. Super, super cool tumbled effect here. And it's very, very different character than I'm familiar with because it is that deerskin. The break of the grain, and even just like the grain character is so much more coarse. See all that? Or if we look at some of the bovine stuff I do, I don't really have any, I wonder if this will show it. See the character of that grain, if you look towards the top of the screen, is much more, much more fine. All this little bits of character in here, it's much finer and more consistent. When you look at the character of this deer, it's really, really coarse and super all over the place. And it's awesome. It's beautiful. Very, very natural look. Very, very rugged. And it's awesome. So here's another look with one that has one hidden card slot on the inside. We also have the Horween USA measuring machine stamp cut in there. This one has 2 hidden card slots, also on the Derby deer. And again, all these are going to have their own product page. We're going to try to launch these at 2 o'clock today, Central Time. Super nice. And then there's 3 more here. These are all hand stitched. So they're pretty expensive, but they're really, really beautiful. Okay, denim blue. Actually, yeah, this is denim blue on garnet shell with a red hand stitching. And we've got the blue hand stained edges. It's beautiful. This sort of like alternating color. I think that's really, really cool. And then the inside, we have a reverse piece with the Horween USA stamp and then more denim blue on the right. Again, all hand stitched. So it's going to be a little bit more expensive than everything else. And by the way, these are all going to be Herbie prices, even though it is a little bit more leather for us. And then we have the denim blue shell cordovan here with a white hand stitching. There's something classic about this combo, the blue and white, that I really like. If you look at the inside here, we've actually reversed the right side here. This is what's called the Horween measuring machine stamp. And I can tell you some information here that will surprise you. So this says, obviously that's so you know where it came from. This says 1.5 feet squared. So it was 1.5 square feet for this piece of shell, which is pretty small. And then this is 12/6. So that means December 6th. It doesn't say what year, but that's the date this was measured and the area of whatever that shell was. So have that there. Some people really, really want that stamp, and some people really, really don't want that stamp. Here's another one in garnet shell cordovan, but we have this sitting on top of natural. This one also has a blue hand stitching. It's a little bit more of like a navy blue, which again is very, very beautiful. We have a garnet colored hand stained edge here. Check that out. Super nice. It's just like so clean. And then the inside, we have more garnet shell with more of that navy blue stitching. So those are the private stock. I'm going to walk back over to you guys, see what you're chatting about. And then we can launch those at 2 o'clock today is my goal. But you'll be the first to know if you're signed up on the newsletter or even on YouTube. I'm going to try to launch everything like roughly at the same time. But my goal is 2 o'clock. I don't want to commit to it because I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to mess up for you. Oh, man, people are here. Good to see you guys. Red, white, and blue. That key fob was crazy, right? All right, I'm going to scroll back up and see what you guys are chatting about. If you have any questions, hit me up. If you're drinking coffee, cheers. Even if you're in the Netherlands, I think you ought to be. All right. Traveler passport holder. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, we used to have a wallet called the Herbie Traveler, which we're not going to do anymore. We're going to switch everything over to the, I'm just going to call it Traveler Passport Holder. And we will now rebrand the other passport holder that we've been doing that does not have a bill slot on the outside. We're going to rebrand that one a little bit more towards field notes. You can put passports in that, of course, too. So I'm going to call it the Passport Field Notes holder. They're different. I don't know if one's better or worse. I think it depends on the person, but I've always liked the Herbie. So if it's similar to the Herbie, that's what, I'm going to recommend, and that's what I'm going to use myself. And then that key fob, man, Lupe showed that to me, and I said, make me another one. So I'll have another one of the store for myself. So Matt, one more thing. I did some research on how to spell traveler. In the United States, it's spelled differently than everywhere else. It's spelled with one L, and then everywhere else spells it with two. So I might trigger you with my spelling because I'm doing one. After, hey Matt, you should do a live video collab with Phil sometime. We should have him. We did Matt and I did a live Q&A once, which was very fun. And yeah, my brother's name is Matt. Oh, thanks, Chase. Chase's beautiful travel wallet. I really appreciate that. Matt says the black and color 8 are chic. Yeah. They're classics for a reason, right? Oh, some streaming hiccups. Sorry, guys. Crispy, good morning. Matt says, hi, Phil. Does this announcement of the Traveler Passport wallet mean that the model is now available for custom orders as well? Yes, you can custom order that right now, but everything we just looked at, I will be releasing in a couple hours here. I'm going to try to put it at 2 p.m. Central Time, Chicago time. So it's 3.5 hours from now. I gotta get moving. Segura says, I ordered one of those new passport holders in Whiskey Shell. Can't wait. Awesome. Yeah, there were a couple whiskeys on the table there. They're beautiful. Matt says, I'm really starting to gravitate towards reverse shell insides. That's nice. It's hard for me to describe why I like that because you kind of have to see it, but I like the way that the reverse interiors were in because I can polish them back more easily than I can polish back shell. So when you close up a wallet, I have a wallet. So when you close it like this and shell touches against itself, shell is actually microscopically abrasive, which people might not know. But as that wallet sits in your pocket and does some movement like this back and forth, and if a little dust gets put in there, like you can see on mine, there's some dust in here, that will scratch everything, especially where the raised letters and numbers of your credit cards are. You get some pressure there and it scuffs the other side. So shell on shell, it's tough to remove those scuffs. But on reverse, if you have one piece in the interior as reverse, it tends to be more easily filled in my experience. Oh, good to see you, Dia. Russ Bucket's here. Matt says, throw Bruno a bone from me. We should do that. Oh, God, I lost track of my... Red, white, and blue. Beefette says, Matt says, red, white, and blue works for the Dutch. There you go. How do you call that blue stitching on the PS Traveler? Oh, robin's egg blue. Yeah, that's a good word. Baby blue. It's really bright. I think robin's egg is a good word. Oh, Doug Castellan's here. If you saw, Doug, you saw your video yesterday. Your tumble verdigris turned out great for your son. That was awesome. Verdigris is incredible. I gotta tell Skip to make more of that. It's awesome. I think he got to that color from a color called Kia, Kea, which again was a color that I think the intention was to make it look like the color of reverse black shell cordovan with that sort of like pale green. Sort of looks like aged copper, which is what verdigris is. So he took the Kia and tumbled it, and then he came up with the tumble verdigris. But he really liked the Kia. He named it Kia after the bird, after seeing some like nature documentary about the Kia bird, and he got really into it and wanted to make that color. Ben D says, Phil, can you explain what the hidden card slots do if there's a stitch? It's just kind of double slots. So if you're looking at a Herbie, for example, we can have a piece of leather sewn underneath one or both of the sides. And by default, we leave it so there's a big opening underneath, which allows you to have just different compartments. So you can compartmentalize all your stuff. We can also stitch it so there are 4 card slots as opposed to 1 underneath and then 2 on the top. We can make 4 equally sized card holders. I tend to rather just stack everything, like all the cards. I'd rather instead of putting, how to describe this? If I had 8 credit cards and I wanted to put them all on this side or this side, right? I would rather stack 4 and 4. So you have 8 total. Some people like to have 2, 2, 2, and 2. So they would want additional card holders stacked on top of each other. We're having some streaming interruptions, my computer just said. Hopefully that helps, Bendy. The contrast of the edge is beautiful. Thanks, Matt. I think so too. Dia likes a slate vintage. It's awesome. Jesse Rodriguez wants a gray. I want a gray too. I want a gray Cypress. Although that vintage is pretty sweet. Maybe we just do that. Dia says, I have a feeling despite literally ordering a made-to-order passport holder, I might wind up having to buy one of these private stock ones too. Only if you like it. And you can always return it, if you get something you don't love it. Gray and orange is a fine combination. Not sure it's for you though, but what an awesome private stock. Thanks, Matt. I actually was stunned with how cool that gray and orange looked. Kind of reminds me of like Corvettes or something. Like a color combination a Corvette would do. The Dead Stock Society could be something interesting for those who have something very exclusive. I agree. The ultimate dead stock I'm looking at right here is, I keep it next to me at all times. This is the 1940s calfskin that was tanned almost 100 years ago. That's the ultimate dead stock. All right, a couple more questions here. Oh, I'm glad that you got a deerskin passport holder. You're gonna like it, Dia. We can always make something else too. Like you don't have to jump on a private stock if you don't want to. We have more leather. Garnet and natural shell combined so beautifully, just like your Johnny the Fox. Hell yeah. Yeah, so 2 p.m. my time is again in 3 hours and 23 minutes. Is there a difference with the Herbie Traveler? Yeah, it's a little bit taller for the Herbie passport holder, or excuse me, the Traveler passport holder. We're not going to do Herbie Traveler anymore. It's all this. So it's a little bit taller so you can fit your passport in the inside more easily. You could fit it before, it just wasn't as easy. Are you going to make that pocket version where the passport slips inside, or is this the new final iteration? This is the new iteration, the final one we're going to do. We can make more versions too. Difference between Traveler and Okay. No, I just funny it came up because like another word that I use a lot is whiskey, which is also spelled very differently depending on where the whiskey comes from. So if your whiskey was made in the United States in Kentucky, it's spelled with an EY, but if your whiskey is made in Scotland, it's spelled with just a Y. There's no E with the Y. Things you learn when you work with people all over the world. Wes is here. Hey Phil, I always talk you up when showing off my wallet or belt. Great products. Trying to get a friend to get one. Nice. Thanks so much, Wes. I really appreciate that. Beefet says, hey Phil, once I heard a rumor that bourbon shell and whiskey shell are the same. Is there any truth to that? That's true. So the long story short is whiskey was the original color before bourbon, and the dye supplier that Horween was using changed. So in an effort for transparency, the tannery just changed the name to bourbon so they could protect their customers and say like, hey, look, this is intended to be whiskey. It's technically different. So we're going to name it something else as opposed to just like hiding it and sweeping it on the rug, like, and just sending them something that might be a tiny bit different. In theory, they're the same. Yeah. Good questions. Hugh is here. Do you think people will ever dress well again, or is it hoodie's life here to stay? I don't know. Like for me, I work in a workshop. So like I don't really have to, I guess I'm on camera here. I'm trying to impress you. But I don't really have an issue with people wearing hooded sweatshirts. I also don't know like what dressing well means. So that's an interesting question because like I'm wearing, I don't know, $1,000 pair of boots and like a $40 hooded sweatshirt and like a $10 t-shirt from my neighbor that he like screen printed his favorite band's art on and gave it to me. So like the things I wear have meaning to me. My wife gave me this hooded sweatshirt. This is a hat from a restaurant that we make menu covers for, and I like what they do. So the stuff I wear is like stuff that means something to me, and I'm not like I should be more fashionable, but I'm kind of just not. So yeah, hoodie life to stay, I'd say. Bendy says, can you make a few wild private stock belts? Yes. And I don't know when. The problem with private stock belts is sizing. So we'd have to make like what we'd consider like straight down the fairway. Like size wise. So like 34, 36. So it's frustrating because the sizing on belts is tough. So we could do that, but I don't know how much we're gonna do. Oh my God. Stanos Wanie is from Poland. Greetings from Chicago. So great to have you here. And you said, Capone Money Clip is the best wallet I ever see. I can't afford to buy it yourself, but you love it. Hey, nothing wrong with just coming and looking, man. That's why I do this. I like looking at it too. So it's just all about sharing leather and talking about it and enjoying it and appreciating it together. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. DA wants to get your friends into these wallets. That'd be awesome. We're evangelizing people. Just got a compliment yesterday on PRP2's inverted blue machine gun jack. Awesome. Make all the belts in 38. That must be your size, Ben. I always joke about my boots or even just your wallet costs more than the rest of my outfit. Yeah, that's me. Hugh says, when you go out to restaurants, do you try to step up your attire or is it too... No, I wear, for me, stepping up my attire is like wearing, still like wearing nicer denim. I don't really wear a lot of slacks, sort of not so much my style, but I'll wear like a nice shirt, like a nice button up shirt. I don't wear a hat and I'll like do my hair and stuff. So I try to clean up a little bit for like date nights and stuff. So this is not how I would go to dinner unless it was just with some buddies after work, So I do a little bit of that, but I don't think people really care these days, to be honest. I'm glad that you brought up this conversation, though, Hugh. I think it's a really interesting one. It does seem like we as a culture in the United States, at least, have become more and more casual, which is why you see a lot more people into stuff that I make and also into stuff that I don't know, boots as a whole. Boots as opposed to like perforated foot, like shoes. You see more boots and jeans than you do like shoes and slacks, from my experience. All right, let me. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thanks for being with me. This is, I think this is the most people we've had on a live stream before, which is great. Maybe it's because some people have a day off here, so it's a great Friday. I want to take a minute and thank people that have picked up something from the website over the last 24 hours. So if you hear your name, you may have just seen your wallet or watch strap or item on the table with me. And again, I greatly appreciate your support. So thanks so much to Osiris, Jonathan M, Varia U, Mustafa S, Andrew Y, John C, Sean M, Harold T, George B, Cassia B, TJ R, Patrick H, Salvador V, Vivek M, Ronnie K, Benjamin H, Kevin T, Andrew D, James D, Tommy, Aaron J, Jeffrey S, and John. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys. And I appreciate you guys being here on the live stream. I try to do this most days. There are days that I end up not being able to, just get too busy. But the goal is to do these every day. It tends to be, it's noticing it's been around like 10 a.m. Central Chicago time most days. So if you like hanging out live streams, put me on the background and we'll look at some leather together. And then today at 2:00, you can expect to see all that stuff get launched. That's the goal. Stay tuned to the newsletter. You'll be the first to know there. And even on a YouTube video. I think the YouTube video might even come up before the newsletter comes out. So if you get notifications on YouTube, this is my smash the like button moment, which I never do. But if you get YouTube notifications, it should give you the first to know there. I don't know how their system works, but I bet if you hit like alert, it will tell you. So anyways, appreciate you guys. I will see you again next week. So have a great holiday weekend here and I'll see you later. All right. Bye guys.